Okay. All right, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome back to the live stream. Let's talk everything. And if you've followed us or haven't, we've done I think, like four videos on Pride. And so if you're really interested in that, definitely check those out. But today we are talking about ourselves and kind of talk about, we're going to ask each other questions and figure out, uh, you
What
know,
our friendship really means. Yeah.
yes, yes. If one of us gets it wrong, they're severely no, not really. We're just gonna ask each other questions and go from there. We're gonna ask some of those deep questions, and
Oh hell yeah.
really let you guys know who we are as and what we're about. So I'll start us off. Um, and you can introduce, like, when you answer this question, you can introduce yourself as well. Um,
Sounds
so
good.
why are you here on the podcast?
Mhm.
Jasper, you want to go first?
Hi. Yeah, hi, I'm Jasper. They them pronouns. I'm here on the podcast because realistically, I just didn't want to let you guys do this without me. I insist on being a part of it. It's just fun.
Yes. Uh, this is totally off subject, but did you see the? Uh, so my fiance just asked me if I just ate corn for dinner because they sent
Oh
that
my god.
because of that stupid thing.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. What did you do with that?
That
Why?
was okay. That was totally a joke. So, all right, before this stream, I sent a picture of a can of corn with a spoon in it. And I was like, guys, I made dinner, the best dinner I've ever had, and yeah, it was pretty funny. I thought.
Looks like a sad broke bachelor's meal. Like you live alone, you haven't gone grocery shopping in 3 weeks, but you're kind of hungry, but you really don't want to leave the house. That's what you eat.
There was
That's the kind of meal.
okay. There was a time. So during December of last year, I believe.
Hmm.
So I was in college and it was my last year, and um I realized that, like, I get short on money for Christmas, and so
Uh-huh.
I did the math and I figured, all right, I could spend $14 on groceries this month if I bought only SpaghettiOs, and
Oh my god.
then I kept those in the back of my car. So when I was at college, and I would get home at like 8 p.m., so there was like no time for me to eat because of the classes.
Yeah.
I would just go, like, the college had to have like SpaghettiOs in my backpack and then a spoon, and then I would just
Oh
eat
my god.
spaghetti. It was really bad.
Oh my god, I bet you hate them now.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of SpaghettiOs.
No, no. See, it's really funny because Taylor, my husband, recently bought me some extra spinach, like canned spinach, like Popeye spinach, because one time whenever I was pregnant, there was nothing else to eat, and I didn't feel like cooking because I was too pregnant to stay in the hot kitchen and cook.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had a can of just gross ass canned spinach, and for some reason that cemented in Taylor's brain. That means that I love it because I ate it once, and so now I've been bombarded with spinach and I hate this shit, but whatever.
Yeah. So Ed, so why are you here on this podcast talking about canned vegetables?
Please help me, God. We went way into the weeds on that one.
Yeah. What a start, right?
Yeah. Way to stay on track.
Sorry about that.
You're good. Anywho, well, me and Chris have been talking about starting something for quite a while now. What, for about a year at least? Just getting
Mm.
on and talking about different things. And but what really encouraged me to really bring this up and start pursuing it with Chris was I've learned that there's a lot of things socially that I don't know about, and there's a reason why. Is because I've pretty much stayed far away from it because I'm not a big person on drama or anything. So when it came to a lot of conflicting uh, conversations, I just stayed away from them because I didn't want to deal with them. So but I decided I was like, I need to start learning these things because I am who I am, and I do like respecting people's wishes and just figuring out how people think and everything else. And I love talking about these deep conversations. So I was like, let's go ahead and do this. Not only it will help me, but for whoever is listening and watching our podcast, hopefully they could take something from it as well. And so I think that's what really pushed me to go after doing this. Even though I'm not great at talking, I figured you always learn on the way.
Hey Ed, do you remember once upon a time whenever you and I had a conversation? We were walking in the park and you had the audacity to call Chris the sheltered one. Remember that years ago?
Yeah, he is the sheltered one, but
Oh, sure, yeah, you're the one who needs to learn about all these topics, but Chris is the sheltered one.
Yeah, he is the sheltered one. He has no like real life experience other than through his computer for the most part. But
Oh, sure, Chris here with a whole ass job and like, what is it, a supervisor position? Management or some shit, doing all that. You don't really call that?
I
He went
I
to
have you
college
know,
forever.
hey Ed, I have you know that I went to South Korea and got cultured in like other cultures other than like. No, I'm just kidding. But
well,
God.
no, that's a good thing. But when at the time we were talking, you were the sheltered one.
so I would say
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
How the turntables.
How the tables have turned, tabled. I would say like and I'll go ahead and answer the question as well. So my name's Chris, and I wanted to get into the podcast I wanted to do this podcast because this is something I really enjoy. I talk to people a lot online and in person, and I am, I love talking politics and philosophy and debate and stuff, things that people are like try to avoid. And so I've always wanted to try to get my thoughts out and talk about these things. Or
You have no idea what small talk is.
no, yeah, I always want to ask like deep questions, and I actually have a hard time. Like, I'm actually pretty much of an introvert. I don't really have small talk with people. I kind of like slowly meet someone, and then I'll immediately go to like, hey, what do you think about this policy? Or what do you hey, do you think we have free will? Or like these really deep questions.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about?
No, because it only took like 4 months of knowing you before you were hitting me with so what do you think of the current economic crisis and shit like that? And I'm like, bruh, I'm like 17.
Yeah, it was really weird. Now, as far as like the sheltered life, I grew up as like a fundamentalist Christian for like probably I would say about 15 to 16 years of my life. That's kind of when I started going out of it, I think. And a lot of that was kind of like I wasn't around a lot of stuff actually. Like my first interaction with like someone who's like gay, for example, was like probably near the end of high school, and things like that. I mean, I was from a town of population 200, but even things like even like other music. I lived kind of like in our own little sector, and it's a variety of things, but for sure, my experience in life it's a lot different than I wouldn't say it's extreme as like someone who maybe like living under like Mormonism or something more restrictive. Not that all of it is restrictive, but a large percentage. But yeah, I would say that experience is something that it's inspired me to get out a lot more, and that's why I have studied abroad and done stuff like that. I was joking about like, oh, I got cultured or whatever. That's a joke, but yeah, that's definitely a lot of my motivation is I want to get out of the small town and do bigger things. So so on that, do you guys have any thoughts or you got any questions you want to ask in the reverse, and we'll answer.
Ooh, good questions. I want to get like down into like the deep history of like all of our friendship. Do you guys remember how we all met?
I do kinda.
Hmm.
Uh, I met you through Chris,
Hmm.
but
I
when we like the first time we hung out was I was fishing and you went down to the park and we just happened to start hanging out that day.
No, that wasn't
Oh.
the first time. No, the first time was that one night that we all went to Joplin to the mall and we all hung out for a little while. And then Chris tried on the, because we dared him about the red, white, and blue top or whatever. We found something red, white, and blue at Victoria's Secret that he'd better wear it. And so we did. We found something.
Yeah.
And we put it on him for Victoria's Secret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first day I met you, Ed.
Yeah. My life is full of times of wearing.
Women's clothes.
Oh yes.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure. We
He
can.
also wore a dress.
Yes. We can just leave it at that. You know. Let the.
Oh, I thought you
audience
wanted the deep questions, huh?
I think it's better just to leave it at that. Hey, my life is
Better
full of
just-
times of wearing dresses.
Yeah, to just tantalize them with it, no further information.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. All right. Well, actually, like I can add on to that a little bit because the first time that Jasper and I met was back in the day. I think it was like 2012, or it had to have been around that year.
2012 or 2013 for sure.
Because that was like when Slender Man was hugely popular.
Yeah.
And I was super into Slender Man, like it was a craze for me. And I actually dressed up as Slender Man. I had like a full on bodysuit, morph suit, I think is what it was called, and wore that. And surprise and like
it was Halloween.
back in that time.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Everyone was like that was like the coolest thing, but like the joke at the time that like we started talking was like I grabbed some candy and then I tried to repeatedly shove it in my face to try to get it through the morph suit as a joke.
Yeah, no, and the whole joke is that Slender Man doesn't have a mouth apparently until he's eating whatever the fuck, but yeah, I remember that very distinctly. Yeah, that was definitely how we met, and then we for some reason became best friends ever since almost.
Yeah.
But I want to know how you and Ed met each other.
Oh, that's not really.
Yeah, I think I remember. I don't remember how, like, I think you just kind of came like, so like our high school had like the different lunch tables and we would sit at them, and Ed kind of, the way I remember it is you kind of just went into our group rather than into the others, and then we all just kind of hanged out, and then it ended up because we started out working together, and we were kind of becoming friends, and kind of just in the same like friend group, and then we like kind of just got closer over time, and then worked together, and then eventually we lived in the same house together and rented, and it's not really like a single point. What do you think?
No,
Ed?
no. It was like bro at first sight, right?
No, it was not like bro at first sight.
We argue a lot, honestly.
Yeah, even back then, when he was very conservative, like
Whenever he was an intolerable little shit, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
me and him argued a lot about those views, and then when he became super liberal, me and him argued a lot about those views.
Yeah. Hey, I just like, it doesn't matter. I love to argue. Yeah.
Because like I'm right there in the center. Like I have a lot of liberal views, and I have a lot of.
Oh, you dirty centrist bitch.
Oh yeah, 100%. But
Go all the way left, motherfucker.
nah,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
I like my guns, and I like yeah.
Yeah, you just got you
I
gotta
love-
you gotta eat the rich,
No. I love how every year that Chris has been alive, how they say that you get more conservative as you grow older. Like every year he's been alive, he's been like slide to the left, just like fucking he's gonna be fucking throwing Molotov cocktails before too long, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to see it.
See, I look back at my overall like political views and how they've changed, and I think like one foundation that has never changed, no matter what. Like even when I was a conservative, I think this value always stuck with me. Is I always believe that like so I'm not gonna get too much into politics, but I always had this belief that power corrupts, and I want to reduce as much. I want to reduce power, to because of that reason, and so look as a conservative that was easy looking at the government, but as I have gone more liberal, I've just kind of expanded that philosophy and just said, well, what about businesses? Well, what about communities? Well, what about just keep going on and on and on. And,
Right.
And so I think that's kind of been my mantra, or just my core value, that I don't think it's changed. I think I've just expanded it.
Right, yeah. Just grown with it a little.
Yeah, I've thought it out more. But yeah, I don't want to get too much of politics, but we could definitely talk about that. I know it. Yeah, that's more my subject than probably Ed's.
Yeah. But
I'd
me
say
and
that one
Chris
of my
actually-
Go ahead.
go ahead.
me and Chris actually met through a mutual friend of ours, because me on my, I think it was like the third day there, I walked into what at the time was, I believe, social studies. We were taking social studies,
Mm-hmm.
and a mutual friend of ours actually introduced us, and and then that's when I went over to the your guys' table, because he was like, hey, come hang out with us. But me and him actually met first, and I think that was actually the very first day that me and him met, and we became like best friends really quickly. And then me and Chris, over a long period of time, and after many arguments, became really close friends as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how it happened to me too. Just so many arguments, about ready to fucking block him and fucking just remove him from my life completely before he was like, "Hey, want to hang out?" And I wasn't done enough with him yet before I was like, "Yeah, sure."
It was funny when me and him used to work together. We would get into a massive fight, and then I would just walk away at that point in time, or I would use something to hurt him with with it.
Mm.
And then the very
Oh,
next
would
day
you
we would just
stab
start
him?
hanging out.
Like, damn.
Well, back then, it probably, honestly, I probably would have picked something up and start beating the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a mood, honest God. Wish I could do that every now and again.
Yeah. Ed, did you ask a question?
No, not yet. I have not asked the question yet.
All right. You want to ask us a really deep question?
A really deep one. Okay. Let's see. How do you deal with toxic feelings or thoughts?
I'll go first if you would like me to. Yeah. So, when I'm in like a dangerous like mindset, for example, toxic thoughts. Typically, toxic thoughts are usually about myself, and usually what I do is I'll get probably stressed out, but I tend to usually just kind of try to relax and sleep on it. I just because I forget what it's called. I guess it's like where you can't like turn on, like when you try to go to sleep and you can't turn off your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
when
insomnia.
yeah,
No, insomnia.
I think that's too bit to the extreme, but like it's some form of that where it's just so much stress that you can't kind of like shut down, or you can't fall asleep. Typically, sleep is what I try to do, or I try to find something fun to do and try to kind of relax. And sometimes that's just playing video games and listening to music, or just talking to someone else, or reading a book.
Can you guys hear me? Fuck.
Now we can.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Once again, my Wi-Fi. I gotta get that figured out someday, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I missed it. What's up?
That was like the end of my statement.
Yeah.
Basically, the question was, how do you deal with like toxic thoughts and
Feeling.
and feelings? And I just said, just you can't have thoughts if you're asleep. So I try to pass out or try to think of something else.
Oh yeah, what a mood. That's what I do too.
It's like if you think if someone's like a monster's under your bed, quickly fall asleep.
Oh no, that reminds me of a TikTok that I need to send to you, Chris.
Do it. All right.
Oh yeah.
But what do you think?
Oh, about toxic thoughts and shit. Well, okay, so I'd rather just go to sleep. That's what I'd rather do. I'd rather just like fuck off for a long ass time, not think about it, not deal with it. No, because who the fuck can really make me?
Yeah.
That's the unhealthy way. But
Yeah.
no, I'd say I've learned quite a few coping skills throughout my years, so I guess I can figure out how to manage it myself.
Yeah.
I really try.
There's other times too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, continue.
I was just gonna say, and like, so other like thoughts I have, like for example, say if I get upset with someone else, and I'm just thinking about like something they said, I'm just getting angrier and angrier the more I think about it. Um, Sometimes what I try to do is, instead of thinking about like how that has
Hmm.
what they said and what it's doing to me, I try to think about, well, what did I say, and what did that do to them? Like I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, oh man, I should have said this. Oh man, I should have said that, and just ripped them a new one. And I think about then, well, what did that, that wouldn't have helped the situation. And I try to kind of just like sympathize and say
Hmm.
and try to think of how are they viewing the situation, because lots of times, especially like in the current situation with a lot of arguing going on online, and a lot of the protests and everything going on. It's easy to get wrapped up in all that negativity, and you just kind of have to take a break and think positively. Think
Yeah.
about
Right.
the things that you can do, and the things, stop thinking a lot of the toxic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't think about it.
Yeah. That's like it's the solution that like makes no sense, because obviously if you think about it, you can't like stop thinking about it. It's like it's like when someone says they're depressed and you're like, well, just be happy.
Right.
Problem solved. Thank you. I
Wow.
realize I
Thanks,
didn't
I'm
need a doctor.
cured.
Yeah. Big brain. Big
Wow,
brain.
thanks. Yep.
Yeah. It's
A
not.
lot.
Yep.
I was just gonna say what I do. A lot of the time when I start having depression problems and toxic thoughts towards myself, I normally get outside myself and just go and help someone else. Some way, shape, or form. Just go out and see if I can help someone or help do something or be more active. So like working out, or if no one needs help with something, I'll go work out or I'll go for a run, or I'll become active, because that will help me remove thoughts from my brain, and also tire me out to the point where I would want to go to sleep. And another thing I do is actually change up, like, the way I eat and what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I start eating healthy. Like, I have started eating healthy and being more active and being more outgoing, just talking to a lot more people on a day-to-day basis, being more social, um, because we are social creatures. So that has helped a lot. Now, when it comes to me getting angry at someone else, nine like I've recently started doing this because, as everyone here can contest, I have a very short patience, and I have a very short temper. So I could get angry really fast.
Mhm.
But what I've been doing is, when I start to feel I guess the rage come, I kind of step away, like mentally, I step away and I look at and I kind of communicate to that anger as if it was another person. So, like driving in where I live in a big city now. So driving around, a lot of people around here don't know how to drive, so they cut me off and do things like that. Well, when I first moved here, I would be hanging out the window, cursing and screaming at them and being very angry. Well, now I take a deep breath and kind of talk to that anger as if it was another person. Like, hey, you don't know their situation. They might be needing to get home or needing to get somewhere, quickly, whatever the case may be. Maybe they didn't even see you there, and so on and
Right.
so forth. And I try to relate to it in some way, shape, or form. Like, hey, you might have just cut someone off, 30 minutes ago, getting on the freeway, whatever the case may be. So instead of it becoming my problem, it becomes like, hey, maybe, I just need to be sure to watch for that a little bit more.
Yeah,
Right.
I think a big part of it is, as human beings, we obviously are aware of our own experience, but one of the things that can be really helpful is realizing that other people have an experience. Like, say, imagine if someone cuts you off. One thing you can think of is instead of like, wow, fucking little piece of shit, what you can do instead is think, wow, they must have something really important to get to, because
Just rationalize it to yourself. Be like, yeah, you sure go, champ.
yeah,
But you got something important to do there, buddy.
yeah, because I mean, like, I'm sure at some point that we have done something like that, or we've made a mistake and cut someone off.
Oh yeah, we've all been dicks to someone else without even knowing it.
Yeah, and we definitely didn't want them to, like, pull next to our car and like yell at us while driving or something
Right.
crazy like that.
Road rage is a hell of a thing,
Oh,
It's crazy how mad people get over.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just
No, I'll find myself, because I don't drive, but I will find myself leaning over into the driver's seat to lay on the horn if I really so feel like a transgression was big enough. Like, if someone almost hits me, like, I notice this around the Midwest a lot, is that people don't want to use their horns. Like, they don't want to honk for shit, right? Especially whenever you'd probably need to. But if you go over, like, they make a joke of it in the South, but I haven't heard anything like that. Because you go over to, like, Kentucky or Louisville or Chicago, out in that area, and you'll hear people fucking laying horns all the fucking time.
Oh yeah,
It's just such a weird
Especially in
cultural
Cali.
thing out here.
especially in Cali.
Hmm.
yeah, even in Kansas City.
Right,
I don't
yeah,
hear
but
it.
it's so strange, right?
Mm-hmm. But what about Cali?
Oh, I was just saying, like in Cali, you end up growing to not being able to go to sleep unless you have noise. Like when I moved out here to the Midwest, it was one of the hardest changes I had to make because
Is it too damn quiet out here?
100%.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
actually I had problems going to sleep. It was too dark. It was too quiet. Now it's the opposite. If there's any little noise, I'm like, the hell's going on? I can't sleep with any light in my room. I have to have blackout curtains and everything just shut off and black, pitch black.
Oh, well, fuck, you need to sleep in a little bat cave, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that would be so nice, but it'd throw off my circadian rhythm trying to wake up in time to take care of Kennedy.
Yeah,
It'd fuck me up real bad.
I have a question.
All right.
So what is something that you are really passionate about? Something that really gets you up and going each day.
Oh, what strikes my fucking passion?
Yes. What
I would say-
strokes your passion?
Oh, what strokes my passion now? I would say the ability to annoy the shit out of as many people as I can. Like, hello, I've survived another day, and I'm about to make that everybody else's problem. Like, I don't know. I guess it motivates me. My passion would definitely be like having like really good friends and being able to share like moments of my life with them. Like being able to wake up and talk to people that I really enjoy. Like that's just so nice.
Kind of like a camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie. Yeah. That's what that's what drives me, camaraderie.
Yes. Ed, what drives you? What strokes your passion?
I wouldn't necessarily state it as a stroking of my passion. One thing that really the thing that drives me day to day that makes me want to go and do the things that I do and try to better myself is just to try to help other people in any way, shape, or form I can. Now, I state that. Don't think I'm a nice person. I am an asshole. So
True.
I'm not a nice person. But the thing is that that's something that I
You're
really
not as much of an asshole as you like to pretend that you are.
maybe
You're really
so.
not.
But
You're not as much.
you might be right. I don't know. But I'm always I want to help out as many people as I can because my biggest goal in life is to just try and leave the world better than what I found it as, and that could be in many different ways. But right now, my my goal, like right now, my day to day goal is, or my day to day passion is just trying to make another person's day better in one way or another. So if that's just making them laugh or making them smile or going out and doing something for them or just trying to make things
Mhm.
easier and better on them in any way, shape, or form. That's my main passion right now.
Chris,
And I,
what's your
that
passion? Oh, whoops.
oh,
I
you're
cut you
good.
off. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that's probably a reason why I'm doing this, but
Yeah. I I
Yeah.
I would say my passions.
Hold on. I want to ask it though. I don't
Yes.
know, Chris. Chris, you had to weird us out, so we have to ask.
Okay.
Chris, what strokes your passion?
Oh, I'll tell you what strokes my passion. So what really gets me going and what really gets what something that I'm really passionate about and things that really get me up and going each day is I think my overall goal is I realize, for example, that the eventually you're gonna live your life and then it'll be the end of that. And what I want to ensure is that wherever I started at, doesn't matter where, um, that even if it's not remembered, the world that I leave is better off than it was before. But even uh, at a more sharper level or a more specifically, um, I want to I'm really passionate about science and computers and really passionate about music and art, and I try to get involved in a lot of those. I really like debate and argument and getting active politically, and I definitely just really it drives to see changes happen is something that really drives me. To see things get better is something that really gets me to wake up every morning and do something. Uh, I try to what's the word? I I really try to work on those goals, and so my my goals in life are like I think really like high like
Mm.
I I've always kind of been in
You set the bar pretty high, huh?
yeah
Chris,
I
you're honest to God just an overachiever. You're like this all around, well rounded guy who can paint and play guitar and like code computers and shit. And yet you're still
yeah
out here. Can't
now
remember basic fucking words.
and I want to clarify because like anytime that's said, one of the things that has always been like a huge eye opener for me, and I didn't used to think this way, is that it's a little bit of hard work, a little bit of luck, but more importantly, like if you don't have an environment that supports you, then it becomes very unlikely that you'll ever be able to achieve something. And I've seen that personally, where I have friends who are pretty much, I mean, we have the same interests, we're going in the same thing. They're actually going to a better college than I am, and just because of like things that happen in the family or because of financial reasons, they struggle, and I think that's unfair. And I just
Right.
happened to be lucky not to deal with that, at
Wouldn't
least
it be nice
so far.
if everybody had the same baseline? You know.
Yeah, that's something. So that's something that I really. It's not necessarily a feeling of guilt, but it's something that I recognize that I'm in a
You're
situation.
privileged. Yeah.
Yeah, like even my high aspirations. This is something that is like some people don't have just because they don't have the education or ability or the motivation to do it.
They don't have the ability to dream big, right?
Yeah, and
Right.
yeah, so that's really
I
what drives me.
have a question when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, what do you guys think about the idea of doing good deeds? Do you really feel like you have to be truly selfless to do a good deed, or do you think that you can do good deeds selfishly?
Ooh.
Both. You could do both in a way. Like for
Mhm.
example, me getting outside myself to go help someone else because I'm dealing with something that I don't want to, but something that depression like. And if you look at it through the eyes of just selfish, that would be selfish. That would be considered selfish because I'm doing it to gain something. In this case, happiness.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
but you can still do good deeds without being selfish. If you go by definition of what's selfish and what and what's selfless,
I don't think we need to
different-
go that deep.
well, but every good deed in that case would be selfish because anytime
Right.
you do a good deed, you feel good about it in some way, shape, or form. So you're
Or
getting something out of it.
can you imagine doing something good and then feeling like shit over it? Like you would never do anything good again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Here's so I'm in the same boat. I think that I'm actually convinced that I'm not aware of any deed that someone does that is truly like altruistic, as in it doesn't give any gain to that person. And I'll give you an example of what would be like that. So imagine, just really quickly, imagine if you had a person in front of you, and you had a choice. You
Are
have
you
like
gonna explain a fucking trolley problem?
it's not a trolley problem, no.
I swear to God, Chris, if you pull anything out adjacent to a trolley problem, I'll kick your ass.
Really, it's just like you have a switch. It's two options. You can only do one or the other. And what
That's
happens
called the
is
trolley problem, Chris.
it's not the trolley problem. What it is if you choose left, let's say you flip the switch left, you will kill someone, you'll murder someone and never know about it. You'll live your life without knowing that you did it. However, if you can choose the other side and you don't kill someone, but you live your life with the guilt thinking that you killed someone.
Oh. So either way, the outcome's the same, huh?
The one causes, one is where someone dies and causes no harm to you, or it has like no like you kill someone and then you never know about it, so like it has no effect on you. The other one is where you don't kill someone but you think that you did and you live your life with that guilt.
Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. I follow now. Yeah, I
Well-
don't really understand why you would have to see benevolence as truly altruistic. Because so long as you're doing something good, why does it matter if you benefit from it?
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
just a little bit.
Yeah, so what I would say is, altruism is in a sense of a spectrum to what degree it benefits other people outside of yourself. And so, for example, I recognize like that my goals in life are selfish. I have selfish desires. Even my desires to make the world better are selfish desires. But these selfish desires, like for example, like making society better, I recognize makes society better for me as well. And
Yeah,
so
it does.
that's how you can, like, even if you have someone who's like a psychopath, you could convince them, if you can convince them that hey, they are better off if they do this thing and it happens to benefit society as well. We all kind of think at that level, just at different degrees.
Right.
But
Oh, Jesus.
yeah.
My child is mad.
Speaking of the trolley problem.
No,
Shut
we're
up,
gonna
Chris.
get into the weeds on that one.
No. No.
All right.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
What's your question?
All right. What would you tell your past self?
God. Oh, buckle up, buckaroo. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it.
Buckle. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my past self is a totally different person.
Put all your money on the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I think I'd say that, oh, hey, this is what you're feeling, by the way. And then, you don't go by this name anymore. You're going to go by this one, and then this one, and then eventually this one. Everything's going to be okay, and you're going to get out of the mess that you're in. Like, that's it. While simultaneously saying, buckle up, buckaroo.
Ed, what would you say to your past self?
If I had to say something to my past self, it honestly would just say keep going the way you're going. Because yes, I've had a lot of failures and I've made a lot of mistakes in my past. No one's gonna shy away from those. I'm not. But the thing is I am starting to learn to realize that those things had to happen for me to be who I am and where I'm at today. And honestly, I am doing.
Please give me a moment. I'll be right back.
I'm doing a lot better now than I was. Than I ever thought I would be. Honestly, I thought that I was gonna be dead by this time. 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. I thought I was gonna be dead or not here for sure. So I would just say just keep going down the path and just stay strong.
I think what probably for me, if I was to talk to my it's funny because it just so happens that like the background music I think is like playing like a sad song. But I think probably if I went back into my past self, I would probably say anytime you get the thought that, hey, I want to tell this person how much they mean to me or how good of a friend they are, or tell someone that, hey, I love you or whatever, do it. That's probably one of the biggest things that I wish I did more. And I feel like I do better at that now, and I'm happy for that. But that's one thing. But also, don't be a dick. Chris, please don't be a dick, even though it's easy to do. Just stop.
You gonna take that information now, or you wanted to go back to tell yourself that, like?
Yes, I'm still I could still be a dick, but yeah, I was a larger dick back then because I think I do it every once in a while, but there's times where like I pretty much it was like, all right, I already know I'm wrong on something. Like I've argued with some like people before, and like I already know like that this is dumb, but I argue it anyway. And I did that in high school. I can think of specific times I did that in high school.
Yeah, I bet you were fucking annoying in high school.
Yes, I
You
was.
have no
Bet you were a
idea.
loser.
Like the tattoo debate.
Oh god,
Oh my god.
that pissed me off. So
Dare I
bad.
ask?
No. Do not- that will get us.
No,
into
no,
a loop. We
no!
don't need
I
get
want to
into it.
know.
We could talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it on the off stream, and maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it on stream. Maybe we'll find out. Okay, I've been asking a lot of questions, so you guys ask something.
I got one.
Do it.
What is your biggest failure, and why do you see it as your biggest failure?
Ooh.
Oh.
So far, at
Oof,
least.
I don't want to talk about that. That seems like a very personal
Yeah.
attack. No.
Well, I wouldn't say it's exact, but
I would say that my biggest failure was going to. So I don't want to get too deep with it. My biggest failure was probably trying to show off at the monkey bars at school, and I fell and I chipped the shit out of my two front teeth, and I got called a beaver for like years. Yeah, I'd say that was my biggest failure in life. At least the ones that I'm willing to acknowledge.
Chris?
No sex before marriage.
What do you mean?
Oh, Chris, you didn't save yourself, you horrible person.
Yeah. Coming from the religious fundamentalism, that was like a big deal. And I was part of the FCA at in high school, and so we went to this huge thing that's like, all right,
What's the FCA?
Future Christian athletes, I think.
Oh, okay.
And we went to a thing where it was like only guys went to it. Like there was a guy one and then like a girl one, and it was essentially, they bring in high schoolers in there, and they talk about, okay, anytime you have thoughts about women, just get the Legos out and start playing with Legos, or get around to other people. Download this app, and then like anytime you like pull up something naughty or something, it would send it to like one of your friends, and then your friends would be like,
Oh my god.
"Dude, not cool."
No, I bet that's the same guy who invented the Pornhub share button.
Come on, if you're gonna watch that shit, you can't watch. You gotta look at this. No, but
Yeah.
it was to hold people accountable. But that was like the stuff that was taught. And so like for the first month, I was like with the person I was dating at the time. I was like, okay, all right, I want to maintain this. I don't want to I want to try to be abstinent until marriage, and that didn't go very well. Epic failure.
And that's your biggest failure so far?
It's like my fundamentalism, being maintaining like the. At one point I wanted to be a pastor. Like when I don't.
Oh,
so
yeah.
don't take this lightly. I was joking kinda, but like honestly, it was like a big thing for me, like
A deep sense of shame and shit.
yeah,
Sure.
it was really, really tough. And so in the sense of like Christian fundamentalism, it was like a big failure. I wish I didn't spend as much time. So in that
losing your
sense,
religion just a little.
yeah, I wish I didn't spend as much time like worrying about it as much as I did, because it was a fear and guilt that I had for a very long time. Ed, what do you think?
About.
Answer your own damn question.
I was kind of hoping that we would just move right along.
No. It's either answer the question or you answer what it was like to lose your virginity.
Yeah, you gotta pick
Yeah.
one or the other.
Pick one.
I could pick both, honestly. The first one, my question, my biggest failure so far is not taking enough time to learn who I am in life and what my capabilities are, and just stop living other people's truth and start living my own, and stop following along these social norms that was programmed into me when I was a young kid from society and everything that so what a man should do and what a man should be and how he should be a certain way and so on and so forth,
Mhm.
and not not loving myself and learning to love myself and take better care of myself, because there's a lot of times that I didn't take care of myself and it ended up a lot worse than it should have been. So and I still battle with that to this day, and I probably will still continue to battle with that for quite a long time. But at least I'm taking steps towards that, towards
Mhm.
bettering that part and making it stop being so and so or quote unquote a failure, and learning to see it more as a opportunity.
Mhm.
And what it was like to lose my virginity, well, it was drunk and not very memorable. I don't really remember a whole lot that
Yeah.
happened that night, and I was really drunk, which is disappointing in ways. I mean, for me at least, I wish I could have been more present and be more present with that person. But
Right.
everything happens for a reason, for whatever reason that may be. But it was there, so
Right. It just occurred.
yeah, pretty much. It was over at a buddy's house. We were both drunk. Everyone was drunk. We were having a good time, and then I woke up the next morning and she filled me in. I was like, cool, and we went our separate ways.
Yeah, well, see, for me personally, I was like 14 or 15. It was homecoming night. Uh, from the homecoming dance, I had just gotten dumped by my boyfriend after the homecoming game, so I was single at the dance, and there was this random kid that I knew, just a bunch of nerds, and so we went back to the apartment that I was staying at with one of my friends, and we hooked up, and it was really bad. Stupid first time sex. So yeah, that's about it.
Sounds about normal, honestly.
Yeah, just normal shitty losing your virginity as a teenager shit.
Yeah. What about
Nothing
you,
too
Chris?
enthralling.
Mine's not
Yeah,
eventful.
Chris. I'm sure none of ours were.
I kept my socks on.
I'm sure
That's
you
terrible.
did. Yeah. Yeah, you seem like the kind of guy to keep his socks on.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
It was so much of a rush that I didn't have the time to do it.
Hmm.
I just
The
had to
question-
keep. What?
The question I have though is who keeps their socks on? Because poor guy, you're gonna need a lot of traction, a lot of
Mhm.
stability. Socks do not give that at all.
Unless you get those like super grip socks, you can be fucking putting your feet up on the wall, giving that dick, Yeah.
You'd be better off
It's like
wearing
grippy.
golf shoes.
If you get those grippy hospital socks, trust me. Just trust me.
I like. I guess this answers the question, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, not really. No. You didn't give us much detail. You just said it was uneventful and I kept my socks
No,
on.
we went from what was your greatest regret or greatest failure
Uh-huh.
to sex, which I am totally okay with.
Uh-huh.
Here's a question we haven't done yet. What do you do for a living? What are your hobbies?
Okay.
I'm a stay-at-home parent, and my hobbies are video games, podcasts, and whatever baby show I can tolerate at the moment.
And meme channels.
Meme channels, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. Wait, no, I'm an underground meme supplier on the internet, that's for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
I supply a lot of Leftbook with memes.
Ed.
Well, I can't fill in too much when it comes to what I do for a living. Because I don't know exactly what I could say and what I can't say and so on. But I work for a big company and in the city, and I'm trying to grow up in that. And I recently got promoted, so yippee me. And what I do for hobbies, I love to learn, so I try to learn on a day-to-day basis, whatever it may be, or whatever it is. And I love playing the guitar. I play some games once in a while, and I just try to relax on my days off when I'm not running around doing errands.
Nice.
Yeah, very boring life. I know. I don't care.
Yep. I mean, all I do is I am a software developer, and I code at work, and then I go home and I do more coding. I do live streaming, play music, and play video games. I also make my own video games too. I'm just now getting into that, but that's
Hey,
pretty much all I do.
Chris, do you recall me being in labor, you hanging out with me because you wanted to be there to support me in one of the most difficult days of my life, and you decided that you had your little laptop with you and you were going to code away on your computer and just do whatever the fuck and work while I was pretty much high as shit on meds with a fucking spinal tap in labor, and you were just sitting
Hey,
there coding.
to be fair, you had your own work to do, and I had my own work to do.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
It sounds like they're a little salty. Just saying.
No, I'm not salty at all. I just think that it's funny.
Yeah,
I don't know, just coder life,
Yeah, there's times where
I swear, if you're gonna be a software developer or like work with code in any fashion, like you need to be able to do it whenever, wherever. So I guess it was just as good a time as any, because it wasn't really like there was much else that he could do while I was in labor, I guess. So
yeah, it's. I mean, I've gone up to see my fiance, and she lives a little bit of ways away, and so I'll go up there, and I used to bring my laptop every time because on my free time I would code. I don't do that as much now, just because want to spend time together, and don't want to have that distraction, and plus I spend way too much time on it anyway.
she and I always roasted you for that.
Yeah, it's a problem I have. I think it's I don't think it's necessarily a positive quality. It to some people it may be, but I definitely work all the time, and it's because I kind of enjoy doing it. But it definitely I have like experienced burnouts because of it and stuff like that, and just kind of like bum myself out by doing it, or like greatly stress myself, and then have like a mental breakdown. So I've had that happen before. So it's definitely something I have to like try to like back up and kind of just try to relax. And going out and seeing family and going out and seeing friends and stuff, that's what I usually do to try to back off of that and try to get away from the computer, because I mean, or otherwise I'll just like find something to do and start working on it when I really probably just need to relax. And that's much harder nowadays with the current situation. That's changed quite a bit.
Do you recall how often I would have to bug you to come hang out with me?
Yes.
Like constantly. You would never hang out with me unless I bothered you to do it.
Now that's definitely salt.
Oh, well, fuck you. Listen, it's hard being friends as an adult. It really is, you know?
It is, yeah.
Like, all your friends live like half an hour away. So if you want to go spend time with someone, you'd better dedicate like a good chunk of your time to make it worthwhile, to make that 30-minute or fucking hour-long round trip seem worthwhile. And hardly keeping in touch because of conflicting schedules and shit. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Friends as adults. And you know, I'm like, what's the alternative? Finding new friends? Where the fuck are we gonna do that?
Yeah, why would yeah, we don't need to do that.
Yeah,
But
like how would we do that?
But speaking of friends, what's the best superhero? Who's the best
I don't
superhero?
think that's any segue, but
Hey, I thought it was good.
Yeah, no.
I'd say Spider-Man. Spider-Man's damn cool.
Ed, I know you're dying to jump in here.
There's so many though. Honestly, my favorites would be Captain America and
Oh yeah.
Thor.
You didn't mention superheroes or like comics as in your hobbies, did you?
No, I did not. No, comic books are, I guess, is a hobby of mine. I love to collect comic books. and-
Collect hobbies.
yeah, collect hobbies. I do collect hobbies. I have realized that. I pick up random hobbies like I.
It's what people with
woodwork-
ADHD do. They collect hobbies.
Yeah,
It's true.
like I woodwork. I play the guitar. I read. I collect comics. I watch movies. I'm a huge movie buff. I play video games. I have a lot of hobbies, but and more that I can even remember right at this moment. uh, but it's hard. I guess the best, my best one would be Green Arrow.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, because he helps out the little man. He brings up people. So if they're there's multiple times in the comic books where someone's having a rough time in their life, and he takes them in under his wing and helps them. He puts his money to good use. He's not just like a stereotypical billionaire or shit like that. Like for example, Batman. Batman is a lot more hesitant to take someone under his wing than Green Arrow, at least in the comics. But and also he's a badass. Yeah,
You can't deny the badassery.
yeah, exactly. But that would be my best one.
What about you, Chris?
Megamind.
Oh yeah? Yeah, are we reaching that far?
Okay, what about the Mask? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Kick ass.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
you like the alternative kind of
Yeah, so not like
characters.
the traditional superheroes. You're going like off the cuff, huh?
Hellboy.
More indie.
Okay. Okay, I for the traditional ones, I'd probably
The indie ones are just fine, but
yeah. I love the indie ones, where it goes off kind of very unique and goes off a common story. But I probably say I kind of like Deadpool. I kind of like I also like Spider-Man too. Yeah. And then I also like Captain America. I think those are probably the ones that like stick in my mind the most. What about the Incredibles?
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. Captain America, Deadpool, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Do they technically count?
they're superheroes.
yeah.
You're like, eh.
Well, what do you say we get this? What do you say we get this wrapped up? My phone's about to die, and I'm running off my own hotspot Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
my computer.
we're definitely past an hour, and
Yeah.
I had more questions, but I figured this would happen.
We could do this
we can always
again.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of superheroes, we're gonna go ahead and save this episode by ending it before we go back into the weeds. So, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, we don't want to live long enough to see ourselves become the villain here.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna get it here.
Thank you everyone for watching this live stream. Hope you enjoyed. Definitely check out our previous live streams. We've talked about Pride so far, and we'll definitely talk about tons of more topics in the future, whatever we decide. So definitely check those out, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. Figure out the outro somehow.